And as usual, I'm excited to have you guys join me on another interesting and educative session of Every Woman. I have with me here my favorite co-host, IJ.
Your only co-host.
My only co-host.
Hello, guys. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to another exciting edition.
Yeah, so IJ, you really look beautiful this morning.
Thank
with the
you.
Whole flower.
We are twinning on this
I
one.
I know. All right, so today we would be looking at I don't want to go straight to say the topic, right? Because I just want us to have a beautiful overview, like a general overview of the health sector in Nigeria before we go forward to talk about health literacy, because that's our topic for today, and especially as it concerns women and the very sector or aspect of this general health look in Nigeria that I am more interested in is maternal mortality rate and pregnant women, basically, because we've seen that women have lost their lives from poor health care, poor health sector in Nigeria. And a lot of times, if we had health literates, if we had women who knew what to do at the time and who knew how to handle themselves and take care of themselves, would have a reduced rate of this. So that brings us to looking at health literacy. How can women know what they're supposed to do? Basic needs from hygiene to general health, as basic as knowing when to take paracetamol, as basic as knowing when to eat healthy and stay healthy. It's what we're going to be looking at today. And health literacy, we're not just going to be looking at health basically. It's large, it's broad, but we're going to try as much as possible to see how we can concise everything and put it together for better understanding. So the basic aspect which I am very interested in and which I really want us to talk about is maternal mortality rate and pregnant women.
Well, it's not just for, I don't know if it's just for whether we can restrict it per se to maternal mortality.
No, we can't restrict it. We're just going to look at it. Health literacy
it's a really broad spectrum, yes. Really. And I think it's important that we look at it, like you said, from the lens of a woman, look at it from the eyes of a woman, because at the end of the day, these are the people that it has the greatest impact on. Women technically are mothers. They're going to be mothers. So they're saddled with the responsibility of taking care of your family. You're going to have to take care of your husband. You're going to take care of your children, So really, the health of the entire family, of your nuclear family, your immediate family, falls or rests on you as a woman. So it is your job to make sure that your family is living in good health. It's your job to make sure that everything is and you know how there's this antiseptic, this popular antiseptic, the advert, really is centered around women, and their family, how they look after their husbands and their family, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. If you as a woman, you're not making very good health choices, it's going to affect the entire family. It's going to affect the way you look after your children, and it's going to also determine how the quality of life that they live generally.
All right, so before we just go ahead to really talk about health generally, let's look at health literacy. Let's look at how we can educate somebody out there to know, because anybody can just hear health literacy and like, okay, so what are they talking about, right? So we'll try as much as possible to break this down into the smallest, or how am I going to put this?
In a way that's for laymen,
English, basically. And I'll just say health literacy is when you know what to do at a particular time as regarding your health. The process to take, the services to go for, the questions to ask, the right information to take in as regards your health. I will take pregnant women, for example. They know that they have to go for antenatal. Not every woman knows that, but there's antenatal, there is postnatal, and there's even prenatal.
Yeah.
And these are different stages. These are different stages in pregnancy, and they need different information, different services, different processes, different motivation, if you will call it that, to go through these stages very well and faithfully without getting to make mistakes at the end of the day. So if a mother who doesn't know that there is something called antenatal or there's something called postnatal stress, who don't know that there are things like this, will just be suffering in silence because there is no information. The person is not aware. She doesn't know how to eat. She doesn't know what to take. She doesn't know where to go to when she needs help. She doesn't know the services she needs at a particular time per time as regarding her process throughout the whole pregnancy stage. So it's very important that we look at health literacy, even if we're not going to really go deep into it, because I mean we can't really exhaust everything.
Yeah.
But let's really look at the most important, the basics, for people to understand. Okay, this is it. You need to know what to do when it's time. You need to know how to take care of yourself, from something as little as personal hygiene. As little as personal hygiene.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond that, and it's important that people learn how to do that. But like you said, it's about knowing what to do at what time. It's about being educated, knowing what health options to take and what actions really to take at a particular time. And I think a lot of people, especially in Nigeria, make very poor decisions because they don't have the right information. I said this before, that the biggest problem we have in Nigeria is ignorance. Ignorance is a really big problem because people don't know. They don't have access to information, and they make wrong choices because of it, and we all suffer for it. There are a lot of practices that we have in Nigeria that are very, very harmful to our health. Now, these people are not only, the reason it is important for us to talk about health literacy is because these people are not only a threat to themselves, but they're a threat to us all. So by not educating them, we also have put ourselves at risk. I mean, you think it's enough for you to just sit back and not, and not inform them, not tell them what to do. But if you don't do that, then it comes back to affect you. And for example, we know that the local women in local communities, a lot of them were using detergents at some point to wash the melon seeds, egusi. They use that. And we know that this is not a good practice. This is a very harmful practice. But then we know not to do it. You're educated enough to know not to do this thing. You've gotten that information that tells you, or that lets you know that this is not what I want to do for my health. But these people that are essentially preparing these things for you don't have that information. And so you end up consuming these products that are, that have come from these harmful processes, because we've failed as a society, we've failed as a people to educate them, to tell them that, oh, this is not what you should be doing. You should not be washing your melon seeds with detergent. You should not be, if you're going to prepare cassava, you should allow very hot beverages should not be put out in plastic cups. And I see that a lot, where you're coming out, you see where they all gather and they're giving out, that breakfast, and there's a lot of tea, and that's with plastic cups. And you know that these things are cancerous. These are not things that we should be doing. But you end up being on the receiving end of this thing because you fail to put out the proper education. Again, there are many people that this falls on their laps, but I think we're going to get to that as we go on.
Well, AJ, while you were talking, I just thought of something, because at the end of the day, when we talk about literacy, right, it's so that you get to know more. In simple terms, you get to know where you don't know, or you get to know more. Because oftentimes you see people who claim they know, and they don't act accordingly. Do you understand? You have somebody who knows a few months back, I think recently, and it was about a lady who used toothpaste to wash special parts, meats, to wash
the intestines. I think I saw those.
And I'm like, first of all, I asked, is there a health detriment to what she's doing? Because at the end of the day, she looks like she knows. She washed special parts. I've never seen that before.
Some of them, this is what they learn.
If that is health, if it's
I don't think you should be doing that. But these are the things. This is the way we learn. We've heard where these local snacks, this quickly, they make it by rolling it on their lap, and you want, these are very dangerous practices that we should not be doing. But then again, these people don't know that we should not be doing things like this. They don't know that they should not be doing things like this. So it's up to us, and not just us. I know that it's really a collective effort. It's the job of everybody, because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are going to suffer. Everybody is going to suffer from this, women especially. So because we're going to be on the receiving end, it's important for us to actually speak out. Of course, there's still a lot of government agencies and the government itself that they still have a lot of role. They have a huge role to play, in addressing these issues and combating it, nipping it in the bud, really. But we can't leave it for them alone to do.
True. At the end of the day, it's a collective effort, like you said. Everybody has to come together to make sure it works. Well, we're just talking about food right now, and I just want to make a point here and state something, that this doesn't just have to do with food. Even the skincare products that are making rounds in the markets today, a lot of them, I
are
can
very
say
harmful.
are very harmful.
They contain harmful products.
Do you understand? But people are buying it because they don't know.
You take something and you put it on your body and you don't know what is there.
There's this person who comes out on social media. I've forgotten his handle, and all he does is comes out to give short health tips, especially for ladies, for women. And at the end of the day, you keep hearing him hammering on one thing: women. You don't have to put soap when you're washing. You don't washing your vagina. You don't have to do this because it's harmful. You don't know, but a lot of people think, okay, this is really nice. I feel it's good. It shows that I have good personal hygiene, but you don't know.
No. I mean, they've said this countless times that if you're going to wash your private part as a woman, there are products that you can use.
Even
they're actually products,
I
but not even all. Like I think the best thing is really to use warm water. Like they've said this countless times, and then you see
have people.
But then you see how this lack of information is a problem and how it affects women directly, because women don't know that they're not supposed to use antiseptic soaps or toilet soaps the way they use to wash their private, and they do it. And what this does is that you're washing off the helpful bacteria that are living there. You're washing them off, and what you've done in essence is that you put yourself at risk. So this is affecting our sexual and reproductive health, and that's something that we can stop if women get the right information, really. But then again, even if we know a lot of people that said, like, I like that you mentioned the skincare, because that's really a big deal. I know on Instagram where a lot of Instagram stores are selling products for one thing or the other, especially when the ones they say is for sexual awareness, and you're selling these products and there's no, like, these are in containers that are basically unnamed, nothing. So, just sell these things and tell you, oh, it does this, it does that. And you don't know. Some of these things, you have to ingest them. You don't know what you're taking. You don't know. You just take things that are not, that are harmful for you. I see people that say they're buying hips enlargement cream, and you don't know what you're buying. You don't really, most of them, and these things come in unbranded containers, unbranded packs that are just, and then they tell you all sorts of stories. Somebody has gone to mix one thing, and then they give you, and you don't know what you're taking in. And these are questions you need to ask. Personally, I use an app, so I even do it with branded products, because I don't know. I honestly can't do unbranded. I need to know what I'm taking. Full thing in this is anything that that is not for me inside here. I need to know. These are the things, and then we need to start hammering. Okay, so for things such as this, these are the things you don't want. I know when that was done, then that was when the then DG of NAFDAC, Dorapini, was still there. Yeah. Because of the kind of campaign that was done around it to tell us, everybody knew that bromate was bad. So if you're going to buy bread and you see the common person on the street, if you're going to buy bread, you're asking, sure, there's no bromate in this one. Does it give me the one that does not have bromate? Because of the kind of, there was a not to buy bread with bromate. Or when they come and say toothpaste, you should not be using the ones with fluoride or what. Habits. What are the habits? What are the harmful things that people do? When it comes to health literacy, again, what do you actually know? What should you know? For somebody who has hepatitis, you have hepatitis, it's a no-brainer that you should not be drinking. Yes, you should not be a heavy drinker. You should know that. But how many people know that? You're asthmatic. It's a no-brainer. You should not be smoking. There's so much information. It's like coming out and saying on a pack of cigarettes, so they write that smokers are liable to die young. I mean, that's enough information on it. You should let people know. And I feel like that should also come with a lot of other things. People should know. You should be, if you're of the legal age, then you're old enough to make,
we need to know that this was actually prescribed by a medical practitioner, and it's suitable for your health. Because before a doctor will make a prescription, that means tests have been run on you.
What about over the counter?
Do you understand?
What about the over the counter drugs? And people abuse stuff like, and I think in certain countries, some drugs are not even over the counter. Some drugs are over the counter here, like painkillers, are not even over the counter outside, because people take a lot. I know somebody that said that 2 tablets of paracetamol doesn't do it for him. He has to take 4.
On whose prescription?
Self-medication.
There was a time I had this very strong migraine, headache, and I went to the pharmacy to get Cafegort, and I was asked for doctor's prescription, because the first thing the pharmacy asked me, how terrible is your headache? Because for you to be asking for a drug, that means you must have been suffering from something very serious. So how about you go to a pharmacy and you'll not ask that question and they just give it to you?
And there's so many pharmacists like that.
They just give it to you.
I'm making a joke. Someone says that there's a difference between a pharmacy and a chemist. Chemist shop. So it's the chemist shop that you go to and you tell them, I want this, and they give you. You say a pharmacy. I know how difficult it is when I tell people I'm looking for, when I go to buy tablets, I have to have done a test. And a lot of people in Nigeria don't do tests.
You just realize.
You just say, my body is doing me one kind. It's malaria.
I think I've not treated malaria I'm not taking malaria.
And some of them, they say, really I took malaria drug last time. It's typhoid.
And then most of them,
do you understand?
See, there's a lot that needs to be done when it comes to health issues. Because most times people get these anti-malaria tabs and they don't finish it. They don't complete it.
They don't complete the drug.
I'm okay, I'm fine.
Once they're okay, they stop treatment. I think you also need to understand what composition works for you. For me, for example, I know that artemether in a certain, 8480, that composition, that's what works for me. I have taken something else that wasn't this,
and it didn't work.
I know it's not about working. I know what it did to me.
True.
It seriously distorted my system.
What you just said is very important, because I know for a fact that one of those times I was actually suffering from malaria. I was given, or I went to even do self-medication. I bought P-Alaxin. It didn't have the composition of the artemether and lumefantrine in it, and I took it, and I was almost passing out. So when I finally went to the hospital, and the reason was, why did you have to do self-medication?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you've taken what you were not supposed to take. This is what brings me to saying the next day, allergies. A lot of people don't know what they're allergic to. You just start consuming things. You don't know what you're really allergic to.
Do you understand? And it's not just allergies, it's also, dietary needs. I have a friend who did not know he was lactose intolerant up until final year in school. And so you can imagine that for the longest time, this person had been taking dairy products and being in serious discomfort up until final year, where he was, he was under pressure to, go to a hospital. What's this? What's always wrong with you? And then you find out that you're lactose intolerant.
Something that you would have done.
You would have known. You have just avoided. Or some people who don't do too well with gluten. You go for gluten-free products. There's so many you need to understand what you want to do. Am I going to talk about the habits or the wrong things that we are giving? In the markets where they buy, these guys that go to buy oil, vegetable oil, the soya oil and all that, and the unbranded ones that come in bottles. Now, a lot of people don't know that they're not supposed to be buying those things, because some of these things are really animal fat that has been melted. So people just go to market and they buy animal fat that has been melted. And what does this do? It ends up clogging your arteries, because you have cholesterol, and you have bad cholesterol. You have fat in the wrong places. And then this person just walks one day and is walking on the street one day and just collapses. And you don't know that this is a result of something as simple as oil.
Well, speaking on that aspect is we have to also look at poverty. We also have to look at availability of funds, because at the end of the day, some of these soya oil or vegetable oils are quite expensive.
They are more expensive than this cheap alternative. Of course, you know why. You've seen why this is cheap, because
if we have a Nigeria that is favorable for every simple Nigerian, or if we have a Nigeria that is working, that we hope to have come February 2023, we would realize that some of these products will be kicked out of the market.
They should be stopped. They should but then whose responsibility is it to ensure that these products don't make it? Because you know that the obvious challenge is that with an agency like NAFDAC, you have to have branded products with, and then they have to now put the registration number. But something as simple as the groundnut oil that is in the market, how do you ensure that these products are safe for consumption?
When we had the former DG of NAPTIP, the late Dora Akunyili, before a NAFDAC, before a NAFDAC registration number is given to you, there have been series of tests, and you've gone through.
But that's for products that are branded.
For branded products.
What are the ones that are unbranded?
That's what I'm saying. Let's have unbranded products kicked out of the market.
This is the challenge now. If you're going to have unbranded products kicked out of the market, then you're going to send a lot of Nigerians into poverty, because people that do not have the means, and this is why it's a problem now with this administration, the cost of getting your products branded, the cost of doing this test, it is really high. So let's be factual. A lot of people are going to be sent into poverty. They're going to join this unemployment pool that is already so high up. So I don't know. I think that they need to have, in some way, regulate these products. if you're going, let's look at what you're doing. What are you doing? And then let's educate people. Let's let them know first of all that this thing you're doing is harmful. So it's based on sensitization and awareness. So the Ministry of Information, the National Orientation Agency, the Ministry of Health, like these are people that have to collectively work together to make sure that every product that is being sent out, whether it's skincare products, whether it's food, whatever it is, whether it is branded or unbranded, that there is some level of regulation that these people know.
Because we're already to provide solution. We're already looking at possible solution to this problem. So we'll go on a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Growing up as a little boy, we were told every day that we were the leaders of tomorrow. Good roads, stable power supply, good education, job opportunities, political inclusion, better healthcare, reduction of the cost of living were some of the things we were promised in tomorrow. We were so excited about the hope we had been fed with about tomorrow. But days went by, years went by, and tomorrow never came. Turned out there was never really a plan for tomorrow. But we know better now. We are more aware now. It is time to take our country back from these hijackers who keep recycling themselves. If this tomorrow must come, we will have to create it ourselves, but this time with someone we can trust, someone who understands our pain. And so I call on every Nigerian youth, come 2023, come out and vote, because our vote is our power. When you vote, vote for a man we can trust. Vote for a breath of fresh air. Vote Atiku Abubakar for president.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Every Human on AtikuLive. And before we went on a break, we were talking about health literacy and how Nigerian women of childbearing age between 15 to 49 years suffer a disproportional high level of health issues surrounding birth. Wow. And it has become a problem because even Nigeria actually represents 2.4% of percent. Half of that percentage already going through poor issue as something as simple. I call it simple because if you have if you're literate, a lot of issues that we have will be addressed. We've talked about maternal mortality rate on the show, and we've made instances to some of these primary health care centers.
Yeah, most of them as a reason of healthcare, most of them as a result rather of poor healthcare facilities, really.
We made mention of that fact, how it has affected women, and how out of 3 out of 10 births, we lose 3 out of 10 births because of poor health sector or from poor hygiene. It even went down to be something as simple as poor hygiene, because these women don't know. How can a woman be seeing her period and she's using fabrics, clothes, because she can't have access.
Some of them are dirty, so you get infections from them. I think
it's a problem.
Someone said, that Nigeria happened. That a lot of people die in this country because we're not doing the right things.
I just call it carelessness.
Sheer carelessness. Because the right things are not being done because we don't have access, that's the word. We don't have access, personnel, information, and it is just, it's not by coming out and, being faced with terrorists and being killed. That's not the only way people die every day in Nigeria. People die because they don't have access to information, something as simple as information. And we really pray that Nigeria doesn't happen in that sense to more people. Because there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that we can change if we make the right decisions. There are so many other people that their lives will be extended, by a lot of years if they got the right information. And we don't have that right information because the people that are supposed to be giving us this information are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I said this falls squarely on the Ministry of Health. They need to step up. They need to do more. They need to send out information. You people should work together with the agencies that you need to work with to make sure that the right information gets to people. Health literacy is a burden that falls squarely on the Ministry of Health. The primary health care, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, this is where it falls on. This is your job to make sure that people get. We have We don't have enough public health practitioners in Nigeria, but we need more of them. We need people to go into villages, to go into local communities, to tell people, and not just in local communities, even the urban areas, even places that you feel that these people have access to this information, they should know.
I mean,
you'll be surprised.
Social media.
You'll be surprised. They don't know. Tell them. I know this is Nigeria, really. So I know that at a point that was banned in my house. You could not drink Gary in my house. And that was because my dad said, if you're not making the Gary in the house, you should not be drinking it. And, it took me a while as a child, to even understand, what was going on, until, we came to the Lassa fever outbreak, and then I understood how this Gary that we take, that people just sit in their houses and drink, how this Gary is spread on the road for rats. Rodents, they just run around and they poo on these things, and that's how people get Lassa fever. Because at the end of the day, if you travel from here, from this Abuja, before you get to somewhere like Akwa Ibom, or before you get to somewhere like Uyo, or along that road, I bet you're going to find one food or the other spread on a public road that people will drive past, that all sorts of animals will climb on and walk around, and this food is going to find their way to somebody's table. Why should that be so? Why should that be so? If these women that are spreading this thing know that it is wrong for you to spread this thing on this road, it is for you to put food that people are going to consume, put it on this road, it is wrong for you to do. If you tell these people, then they know. They will not do it. If you tell them it is wrong and there's a penalty, or there's a penalty really to doing something like this, there's a consequence. I think you're going to see, things, they should have places where they are being dried. But they don't have access to these things. So this is where they cannot afford to get this thing.
You just answered why I was smiling while you were talking, because at the end of the day, when you put restrictions and you tell people, okay, you do be made for them. Just like we have the Ministry of Environment, for example, or we have the FCT ministry going to demolish people's stores or shops. What alternative arrangements have you made for the people who have been occupying that place for the longest of time? This is the only opportunity and the only platform they have to feed their families and people who are dependent on them. So when you carry out such activity, what alternative?
Pushing them to crime.
What have you made? What have you kept aside? Like, okay, spreading food on the road is really wrong. You're going to have this, you're going to have that. You do this, you pay fine. Rather than you spray here, this is what you have. This has been built for you people. All of you can use this. Don't make life easy for people. And Nigerians, like I said, are hardworking people. We need to find a way out.
It falls on the leaders. But we can't continue to do certain things. We can't continue. People that buy food from the road too. Do you know how many times? You can't even buy street food because you get food poisoning. Because these people will literally they can keep a bucket of water outside and collect rainwater and use that rainwater to cook. And what still, some of them collect it from asbestos roof. I'm telling you, they keep this on that, and you see them, you're traveling, it's all being collected into this place. What is being done with this rainwater? Of course, you expect that somebody that is collecting this rainwater is using it to cook. You expect normally, maybe what you'd expect rather is that the person is using it to wash, clean. But in some places, these people don't have water. They use this water to cook the food that they are going to eat.
The cleanest water they have or they've seen.
And it is appalling, because these are the things. And tomorrow that person is sick. That person has typhoid. Of course they will have typhoid, because the water, or they will have cholera. The water is not clean. They're drinking dirty water. You're making use of dirty water to cook. And somebody will tell you, I know I was talking with somebody, and I was talking to the person about it, and the person said, when you heat the water, the thing is kind of like, you have thermophilic organisms. You have organisms that this is where they thrive. It's even when you heat that water now that you've given them the environment that they're looking for. So, I mean, there's still a lot of information that needs to get to people for them to understand.
Well, I think I would have to talk about health literacy again, looking at it from other aspects.
Probably with a health practitioner too.
Yeah, this time we'll look at the consequences and the impact and effect and all of it. We'll just take a more basic and streamlined look on it. But this is the much we can take out today's episode. I know it's been engaging. I literally didn't want IJ to stop, and I know you didn't want her to stop as well, but this is the much we can take. And to see you tomorrow, please have a beautiful, beautiful day. My name is Tiana Wabasi. Enjoy the rest of your day.
My name is Joma. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.